You and I having a conversation. Let's start a dialogue.
Yeah.
Let's start a conversation.
You know what I hate, Bob?
What do you hate, Bob?
That's how Americans start a conversation sometimes.
What is it? Give me your best American accent.
Please, Lord. This boy needs Jesus.
All right, Coach, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us, man.
No problems.
All right. So, Coach, tell us a little bit about what you do right now, who you are, so the people that are watching this know who we're talking to.
Okay, so my name's Nawal, and I'm from London, and I moved down to America because I was in a long-distance relationship, and me and my wife now are married. I came here, I did my master's at JU, had a great 2 years, met a guy called Nick Swander, and now we are pursuing to make a Sunday League team to go pro one day, all right? Like most people, you know, like trying to go, and either they're pursuing a career to become a professional football player, or they're trying to make their team go to semi-pro and then pro one day.
Definitely. That's awesome. Let's talk about the earlier stages of your career, right? So you've played in the Fulham FC Academy, as well as been a part of their training and player development team. Tell me about that transition and how it came to be.
I never played for Fulham.
Oh.
I never played for Fulham FC Academy.
Right.
I'm like, here's the thing, like I say this all the time, a lot of players that have played academy, you can't really say you played for that team, right? Unless you played first team. Okay. That's how it's looked upon in England. Like, it doesn't mean anything, you know?
Is it really?
Yeah, I never played, I never played pro. I did play semi-professional.
Yeah.
Like most kids in England, I tried to pursue a professional career.
Yeah.
Fact of the matter is, I wasn't good enough. I had lots of injuries, but when I look back in it, like, it is so difficult.
Yeah.
So difficult to play pro and say you played first team, you know?
Definitely. How did that transition go then to the position that you had with Fulham?
So it's, for Fulham, I worked as a staff. Okay, so you know, when I realized that being a professional football player was beyond my reach, I went into academia. So I went and studied sports therapy from University of Kent, and then did loads of courses. I did my UEFA B license, and then literally started working for Fulham Academy as a therapist, and things just evolved from there.
Yeah.
I mean, I went all the way to, like, I was assistant coach for the women's team as well.
Talk to us about that. How was that experience?
It was an amazing experience. I think the women's team is still, like, soccer in England is still evolving. I know, like, the top teams have, like, progressed really, really fast.
Yeah.
But not everyone else has. And one of the best things about helping out the women's team was I kind of wanted to give them the same service as what the pros were getting, you know, because the women's team wasn't quite pro then.
Right.
You know, and yeah, and I did my best for them. I had a really, really good experience.
Definitely. And I know that as a fact, since we've seen you coach with OAFC, so we know what you're capable of. So I can only imagine the work that you did over there, for sure.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. So talk to us about your semi-pro career. What team did you play for?
So I played for teams like Windsor and Eton,
Yeah.
right? FC. I played for Cobham. I played for Cove. They're just like local semi-pro teams. I remember I was in the reserves. I was training with the first team for Farnborough Town. I think they were in the conference back then. What else? Yeah, I went from a few semi-pro teams there,
Yeah.
and then realized I kind of like didn't like it, and because there's a lot of commitment, a lot of travel,
Yeah.
and I also had to manage like my degree as well, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Does Sahara FC ring a bell?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It's I think it was part of my life where I probably enjoyed my football the most.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was representing. So Sahara FC, there's a Nepalese community in England. Okay. Like a big Nepalese community, and I felt like I was representing Nepalese community in England.
Really?
It was something very special. We had tours to Nepal. We kind of like bridged England Nepalese players to Nepal, and as a result I got to meet a lot of Nepalese football players. I got to see Nepal. I got to go there every year, and I loved every minute of it.
That's awesome. I didn't even know about that. So
It's actually a special team. So if you imagine, right, there's a Nepalese tournament,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, there's more than 40 teams, right, in this annual tournament. And what will happen is a bunch of businessmen, chairmen, who you want to say, said, listen, why don't we just pick the best players from this Nepalese community and take them to Nepal and compete against their biggest tournament, right? And so imagine being selected for that and captaining. Right, it was a very it was a proud moment for me, my family, and it was just exciting for the community.
Oh, for sure. What position did you play?
Played centre midfield.
Center midfield. Nice. I like that. It suits your style.
Thank you.
It suits your style.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Coach, talk to us about this picture. What can we see here?
I see a short tie. I see a tie that should have just reached to my belt. But no, listen. What people don't know about that is I'm so glad you got that picture. I don't know where you got it from, but you know we away got into the final.
Yeah.
Right? And I told the boys that every final that we do in England, you turn up in a jacket and a tie. So listen, that is a final. So if you're rocking to a game at that level, it was a final. It was a cup final we won. So I played. I was a captain. I was a coach as well for them. And it wasn't just Nepalese players playing Nepalese. It was you play a whole season long. You have to win like cup matches to get there. And you end up playing in a semi-pro pitch with a stadium. It was a lovely atmosphere. We had a really good turnout,
Yeah.
and players' parents and stuff. And to go out there, I think that was in our first season or second season, and to go and have a good cup run and win it was just awesome.
That is great.
Right. And that's the culture I don't think we have over here in America when you go to the finals, where you have to turn up suit and tie.
What was the score, you remember?
I think we won 2-0.
Nice. Did you score?
I didn't score.
Oh,
I didn't score.
That's
no.
okay still.
No.
I'm sure you still played a great role.
No, I played well.
Oh,
I
I'm sure you
enjoyed
did.
that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
played well.
Nice. Kind of going off topic here, but who would you prefer to take a last-minute penalty? Zidane or Bundu Gurung?
Oh my God. Bundu Gurung, obviously. No, listen, it's crazy how you guys know about Bundu Gurung. I hope he sees this, because I haven't told anyone about Bundu Gurung. But I was fortunate enough to not only work with pro players, but I got to play with a lot of good players coming up. And I can honestly say he must be in the top 3.
Wow.
I think I've always said before, if he was born in Europe, I'd probably be calling him up right now to get tickets to go and watch him play somewhere. That's
Yeah.
how good he is.
Wow.
How he was.
That's awesome. So, while playing football, you also studied sports medicine, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sports therapy.
So, how are you balancing the hectic schedule between the two, and how important was it for you to not lose that focus?
Yeah, so you know what people don't realize about being a student back home is that most of these guys who are playing football are playing semi-pro, which is a massive commitment, right? I mean, you're playing in the same team as players who are making money from playing semi-pro, and that's going to pay their mortgage, right? that's a big responsibility. I mean, you lose a cup match, which you could actually get a good bonus for, right? That's a lot of pressure, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to perform all the time. And not only that, some of these guys also got a job on the side as well to make money.
Yeah.
Like I was working as a personal trainer back then and doing a degree. Listen, it makes you go, which one do I prioritize, right? And it's usually the work, right?
Yeah.
And which means a few phone calls where you go, I'm sick today, or, right, like, sorry, I can't come in because I don't have enough time in the week to do everything.
Wow. So, did you get a chance to work with the Nepal national team?
I got a chance to work with the under 23s, and I think like a good 75% are all national team players now.
Wow.
Yeah, and at that time, when the Nepal Football Association called me up, the national team wasn't like playing, and the under 23s were representing South East Asia, right?
Wow.
And it's so good to see because all of those guys, and like I think a good percentage are now national team players.
Wow. How does that feel?
Listen, I was eating breakfast with them, lunch, dinner. We were all in this thing what they call a closed camp, where you're locked in and you might have 30 minutes to go outside during the day or 45 minutes, and that's it. You're just there. And these are the things I think has developed me as a coach, as a human as well, because there are so many clubs in England, America, all over the world that will go, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that. Listen, you're in the national team. Like some of the best players that I've seen, look, they have nothing, man. Listen, like honestly, like what they're doing is incredible with the bare minimum. Like resources are minimal, and so it's just raw talent they've got, right?
Yeah.
And they can play, right? I wish one day that things just brighten up for that place, because they are going to do amazing things.
Oh, I bet. Speaking of brighter days, and every person involved in football, they have their dark days. I'm sure you've had some from the past. We've all had some from the past, but. In dealing with your constant injuries and such, what made you come out of that hole, and what can you tell, those players dealing with those sort of dark days of injuries or going against media or even against critics? What is your word of wisdom when it comes to getting out of a hole that you're kind of stuck in?
Do you know what? I honestly think that every player will go through this. Just don't believe that there isn't a player that is not going to go through a dark mess. And I'm going as far as saying, like, the millionaires who you think, oh, they've already made it and stuff. I know for a fact that they go through it too. And you know what? This is going to be totally subjective, because what I did to get out of it is not going to be the same for them. But one thing that I want to say is that no matter how bad you're going through, I reckon I can find another million that's going through worse, right? So I don't think it's an opportunity to be a victim. It's an opportunity to go, listen, like, suffering and pain, they say in life, is inevitable. Inevitable. You're gonna go through it, but deciding to like stay down there I think is optional. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So
you have an option to stay down there, or you have an option to come out of it.
To do something about it.
Yes.
Right.
So, listen, I think you're gonna go for it. I think, you've almost got to be mentally insane not to go through it, right? Like But choosing to stay down there, that's a choice. I think you have a choice to go, you know what, I'm going to choose to get out of this.
Yeah. I love that answer. I'm just going to straight out. I love that answer. That's fantastic. You inspire a lot of players to come out of the shadows and show their emotions on and off the pitch. How important is it for the players to express their emotions in football?
Oh, it's everything. Like, why do we watch Ronaldinho? Why do we watch Messi? It's their expression, right? And our job isn't to suppress their expression, right? It's to help and facilitate an environment to get it out, right? Football is expression, right? If a player is nervous and crapping his pants or whatever, like, I think we have to be responsible for that. Right? And if a player is not expressing himself, like, I think you have to look at yourself. Go, what kind of environment am I creating here for them not to do that?
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, in our semi-final match where Camilo was just bossing center midfield.
Yeah.
Right. And he came to me just before he was going. Like, it was like this encounter, and he was almost gave me this look to go, "Is it, Coach, everything? I'm doing okay?" And luckily I had a translator there, and I said to him, I told him, I said, listen, whenever you play soccer, right, and you're not having fun and enjoyment like this, right, you're in the wrong place. And if I do anything to create that, you just let me know, right? Because I honestly think this, when players play the best, when they're actually having fun.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's very honorable of you, Coach. You know, a lot of times coach want to do things their own way. They want to micromanage or be involved in the pitch so much, or in the court, or wherever you're doing, that they forget that this is a game at the end of the day, right? Yeah, they're getting paid millions. Yeah, they're getting trophies, they're getting medals, but it's a game, right?
So, you know, the latest like research on from psychologists, and if you listen to like people like Dr. Huberman's podcast and stuff, they actually say even at the highest level, it's not good to play when thinking there's so much at a high stake. Your performance goes down. Yeah. You almost got to go into it as it's a low stake environment, right? So when we pump it up so much that there's so much high stake to this, the performance actually doesn't increase, right?
Yeah.
And if it did, I would do whatever I can to make them express themselves a bit more, right? But I know it doesn't.
Yeah, definitely. So, Coach, did you get a chance to coach in Nepal?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. I went for that reason. I actually went to Nepal to, I get excited talking about Nepal.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us all about it.
I actually went to be an intern to pick up cones for a coach, and he got moved up to the national team. The chairman said after 3 days, saying, do you want to be the coach? I was 27 years old. Right? And my next game was in about 3 days' time, with about 20,000 people watching us.
Wow.
And we lost.
What was the score? You remember?
It was like 1-0.
That's not bad.
Penalty. But like, it was 3 days. I actually hadn't led a session or anything like that.
Really?
Properly, no.
So, what were some of the challenges that you faced, right? Besides only having 3 days to prepare, right? What were some of the challenges that you had to face when you had that opportunity to coach in Nepal?
I remember one clearly. There was players older than me in the team, and they had this attitude like, "What can you teach me?" You know, and I think you're going to experience that as a coach, regardless of what environment you're at. But that was the first time I experienced that, and I was conscious enough to go, "It ain't about me or you." You know what I mean? So there's no reason for anyone to have an ego. It's always got to be about the team. So. I think that was the first one. It didn't make me feel good. But the second one was, I remember that there were some loyal fans of this team, and I think this team had won the league last year, right? And so what happened was most of these boys had gone to the national team. Okay. So we had a whole set of new players, young players and stuff. And so the results didn't go our way because it wasn't the same players. But afterwards, we went into winning tournaments. Yeah, we did really well. We ended up making Nepal proud because they get to see these youngsters go out there, and some of them went from nobodies to the national team.
Wow, that's awesome. What was the name of the team?
Himalayan Sherpa.
Wow, that's awesome. So, talking a little bit about that challenge, how did you overcome, and how did you, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but how did you inspire them to say, okay, the coach is younger than me, what can he teach me to now then? You know, what was the end result? How did you motivate them to, you know, listen to you in training sessions and do things your way?
So at that time, I realized that, you know, a lot of people think coaching is just about authority. I realized that it's a lot about rapport too. Okay, so just building relationship, just understanding how they visioned the team going forward, and we kind of had a common value, right? And then we said, okay, let's do that, and then we went forward from there. But I think that wasn't the biggest challenge for me. The biggest challenge was getting these guys who hadn't played regular 90 minutes and stuff to go, we can do this.
Yeah.
And then they went and beat the 3 top teams in Nepal to win a tournament.
Wow.
Guys who were paid like 3-4 times as much as them, played national team and everything, ended up winning. So yeah, I'll never forget that time.
It must feel amazing to have your own little footprint on what is now the Nepalese, national team.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's the other way around. Sometimes you just got to be, I'm so glad I was part of them,
Yeah.
Like those guys are so talented. I think they could have done it without me, It's just that we were in the same journey together.
Yeah.
And that's the special thing.
You're too humble.
I know, I'm being very, very serious when I say that,
Yeah, no, definitely. So let's transition to now, the present. So you're coaching for Oceanway Football Club here in Jacksonville, Florida, taking on a huge role by developing a structure for a new club. How did it feel to help and start a franchise from the ground up after coming from an established team?
Oh yeah, listen, every day is a challenge. I just don't think people know what our challenges are. Like, we had to play against teams in this league that could easily be a Category 2 academy back home in England, right? There are teams with like 15 pitches. Every single one of them has floodlights, like sprinklers on, their own gym and goals everywhere, facilities and equipments and everything. And we don't actually have a training pitch. We're tenants, like we're from here to there. Boys are in other clubs training 3, 4, 5 times a week, right? Literally, we have to play against boys who are training with the MLS Next team every day, and then they'll come and play the match. And we train twice a week. And that's like semi-pro teams in England, they only train twice a week. But I don't think it's the fair ground when other teams are training 4 times a week, right? So that's a challenge. That's where we're at. But you know what? Don't see anyone complaining.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are doing the thing, right? Let's talk about last season, You said it yourself. We were not supposed to be here. We were not supposed to be here. We made it all the way to the final of the league. Lost 1-0. Nothing we could have done about it. I think we played our best game. We had to deal with injuries, but, we're doing the thing, right? Oceanway is doing that thing,
And sometimes you got to understand and take it. Like, Goza Spurs are a brilliant team. It was the best team we played against. I was just in awe. Like, what can you say? Like, when someone is so superior and they were so good, they went and won the next game too as well.
Did they?
They beat some good teams to get there. And their coach was complimentary of our team, very complimentary. He's a classy guy. I basically said to the team that not all losses are equal. What we've done is, they might not be able to see it, but they've done us so proud, this club, to get there.
Absolutely.
To get to the finals of a playoff in our second season, it's just like, wow. Some teams might have not done that yet now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a fortunate position to be in.
Absolutely. Do you look to inspire this city into believing in something new and making football more of a bigger picture in the city of Jacksonville?
Yes, but it's not just my job, right? Everyone, JU, UNF, Clay County, JFC, Florida Elite, us, everyone. It's the village's job. It's not my job. I'm just doing something that I enjoy, right? Personally, I've tried to do best wherever I've gone. So people don't know, my first coaching role here was with FC Finns, just a club team at JU, right? And we weren't even known. The university wasn't known for soccer, And before the pandemic, Finns were like 6 wins out of 6, right? So everywhere I've gone, I've just had a great time and fun, and that to me, the friendship I've created from the Finns is amazing. so respectful boys. Some of them love soccer for the right reasons, and you know what? It's actually really nice to play with boys who go, you know what? We're not going to make it pro, but we love play soccer.
Yeah.
And not only that, I had to tell them every training session that, listen, you're going to be a pilot when you finish your degree here. Right? You're going to be an engineer. Not everyone playing soccer is going to be pro.
Yeah.
Right? So, and you get to love it. Like, so there was just no pressure, and they ended up doing so well. So well.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Coach. Let's touch on some of your personal work. So we see on your social media posts that consist of various tips and tricks on strength and conditioning. Why is it important to focus on these two factors, especially for players?
So I'm a sports therapist from heart, and I've done my strength and conditioning credentials as well, because it's not to become just a S&C coach, but one way to bulletproof a soccer player, because soccer destroys us, right? It's a very asymmetrical sport. 90-minute kills us, and the training as well. And one of the best things to prevent injuries is get these guys stronger, right? So I don't say that getting stronger makes you a better football player, right? You can get, if that was the case, then powerlifters will be playing, right? Because they're the strongest in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we just know through a lot of science and a lot of research, we create a lot of integrity in muscles, tendons, ligaments, bones, through lifting. But that's not what I like to talk about. I want these guys to know that I've come from a world where I've seen these guys come to the gym, like footballers, do their stuff, go and train, and you know what? It's part of their life. It doesn't matter what they're feeling, how they're feeling, they'll go in and they have to live like that. And guess what? Do they go and just do whatever they want? There might be a small window, like freedom for them. No, it's the staff that goes, we're doing recovery today, we're lifting today, this is activation, this is recovery, we're having a session outside. Okay? So they have a structure, whereas I feel over here, a lot of the guys will go and do whatever they want and doing the wrong things, maybe before a game day, maybe 2 days before a game day, or 1 day after a game day. It's like, I know for a fact that some boys were like, we're in the semi-finals, finals, let's go and do extra. And I don't think that is helping them.
Yeah.
That is not the time to do extras, that is the time to maintain. So just give an insight in from the world that I've come from and what I've learned and what I've seen, because I was a player that never played pro, so I was like, whoa, I didn't do anything what the pros were doing. You know?
Yeah. So touching on that last subject on how players tend to do more when they don't need to do more, what are some of the mistakes that you see players make when it comes to strength and conditioning?
Oh, you just said it. Like, I think some of them are going into straight heavy lifting, right? And they haven't done the prerequisites for that, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, just a simple thing, right? It's like, you ever hear doctors talk about the minimum effective dose?
Yeah.
Right? If one ibuprofen could get rid of your headache, why would you have 5?
Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So these guys are going too into heavy lifting, and what does that do? Like, they plateau quicker.
Yeah.
Right. So now they've got to do loads and loads, but I don't feel like that's what I mean. They don't have a structure.
Right.
They just go, right, I'm just going to go ham today because I played rubbish, or I need to get better, or someone's doing better than me.
Yeah.
I'll go work harder in the gym.
Gotcha.
And that's the first mistake.
It seems like young players get training and recovery mixed up. They think that they should focus on training to improve their skills, but how vital is a recovery session after a match or training?
Yeah, so this is very insightful of you, right? So you're right, training and recovery is different, but I'll go as far as saying rest and recovery is different. So a lot of people think, I'm resting, so I must mean recovering. Not completely, right? Recovery sessions are slightly different to what a rest session is. A rest could be just you watching Netflix.
Right.
Sorry,
right?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry about
That's
that.
okay. Thank you, sir. So I think recovery is where you're trying to manage inflammation, right? It could be nutrition. Recovery like falls into that spectrum too, where your glycogen stores, which is say carbohydrates are low in your body, or you're not having the right amount of protein to help the body repair from any like breakdowns that you might have got from playing a game. And it, I know a lot of people think recovery is an ice bath, right? That's one thing of it, but it's also, you've got to understand, remember, like say, let's just zoom out and imagine a golfer swings this way 200 times, right? And imagine then he goes in the gym and does more of those, like he's going to be out of like structure. So a lot of structure, like structural balance stuff is what we do in recovery session, where we're trying to align them back out and undo all the bad things soccer has done to us.
Right. Wow. Insightful. Thank you, Coach. So coaching men throughout your profession has definitely made an impact. And recently, Nepal native Asmita Ale just signed for Tottenham. You know that?
Yeah, I'm surprised you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is so good for the Nepalese community, by the way.
I bet.
Like, I know that all the boys soccer players, they must be going, wow, we want to be in that position, right? And so she's out there doing her thing. She was playing for Aston Villa, and then she's now for Tottenham. I think she's with the national team too.
Yeah.
Like what an inspiration to the whole of the Nepalese world.
Right. Do you hope that, with this signing, this can be an inspiration to other women in Nepal to continue to pursue their dreams?
Yeah, I mean, I know firsthand, Nepalese girls are ballers, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, like there's a girl who's in the national team, who's a striker, like plays against other national team. I think she scored like over 30, 40 goals.
Wow.
Scores like 6, 7 goals a game. So just that they don't have the platform.
Yeah.
But I know they can play. But that also shows that what we, I think that's a massive reflection to how the nation like views the girls. Obviously, nobody's stopping them playing sports and expressing themselves, right? So I'm really proud of like my country for doing that, because they were obviously allowed to go and play sports.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They didn't have to go, all right, I'm a girl and I can't play, right? Because I mean, our volleyball team is good too. We have a swimmer who went to the Olympics. She's a girl too.
Nice. That's awesome. So, Coach, final question. What are your plans for 2022 from a football perspective?
So I'm looking at my like A license. I've done my B, and I'm just going, do I have to go back to England and all that? And I know there's courses in a different country that I've looked into, so I want to do that. I want to grow away, as in a way that I know they have an academy system over here and not a first team, and I wanted to go, well, if you have an academy that doesn't lead to first team, or where are you going with it?
Yeah.
Right? So I want to go backwards and create a 23s and under 18s and 16s. Also work within the women's team as well. So I want to help our way grow out in that way,
Definitely. We love those plans, Coach. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We learned a lot about you today, and we're excited to share this with everybody online. So thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Yes, sir.